So hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the first Assetto Corsa Competizione video. Now, the opening credits we've all been waiting for on console. If you're a sim racer like myself, the expectation of something truly special to arrive on console, a simulator to out-simulate Project Cars 2 and Assetto Corsa. So many hopes lay with this title, and let's truly hope the game gets patched soon for some of us. The special day was abruptly ended yesterday, after probably about an hour after the game was installed. So let's get on with some of the issues that I found, whilst also leaving an open mind as to the future of this game. Now, as soon as the game was loaded, you get the privacy policy, which I'm sure none of us went to 505's game website and just clicked to continue. So as soon as we've done that, the first thing that I generally want to do is go in to have a look at all the settings. And usually the audio settings is the first thing that I start to adjust, just changing a few things that I prefer, generally just to get rid of the menu music. I just find it annoying when you're chatting with friends in between lobbies and stuff. But yeah, then I went on to have a look at the steering wheel settings, maybe look at the key bindings, whether I can actually use the keyboard, which it obviously isn't compatible at this point, which is just something I find amazing in all these titles. There's still only Project Cars 2, and I think I've heard 2019's F1 game is actually keyboard compatible. But anyway, it wasn't reading the steer lock, so I couldn't actually input anything into there, because at this stage of the game the wheel wasn't even recognised by the game, which I didn't know at that point. But anyway, carried on looking, went in to change some of the assists, and I'd certainly recommend keeping engine start, wipers and everything to automatic, so you can actually use some of the key bindings for other functions. The only two things that I changed in there was the manual gearbox and turning the stability control off. In the general settings, I was quite happy with what was left to be in there, and the HUD settings for me are quite limited, and still Project Cars 2 is the only game where you can actually really customise the HUD to how you really want it. So not very many things changed in the HUD setup, and then I just went on to have a look at what was available in the single player option really. I also had a little look in this special event section, and then moving on to have a look at the driver profile. Now, I spent quite a lot of time in this driver profile menu because there's so many things to look at. There's a lot of information to read, and the driver profiling is quite detailed. I know I've heard someone say they couldn't find anything about all the abbreviations that are usually in the top right hand corner, but everything's very well explained during this section, and I'll be interested to see how that develops. But yeah, looking at all the other game modes, I was quite impressed to see numerous different types of single player options to go for. But primarily I just thought I'm just going to jump straight in and do some sort of hot lapping and try and get the force feedback how I'm wanting it. Now, after spending a little bit of time choosing the track and circuit, I thought I'm bound to go into the McLaren 650S, and spent so much time in this car over the past couple of days. And choosing a livery for this game was quite a chew really. You couldn't actually see what you were doing until you'd actually made the final selection, but that's for a later video. But anyway, I went in to have a look at some of the setup, just to familiarise myself with that, and then just get straight into having a go in this game. So yeah, straight on, beautiful sound as this car starts up. I was really impressed with that. Tried to press the accelerator, turn the pedals, and nothing happens whatsoever. It's time to repower up the wheel and restart the game. So coming back into the game, I thought there was a couple of key bindings that I still hadn't chosen, which I thought might have been useful. And then once again I had to restart the wheel before it would recognise it, and then back in. And yes, I can finally move the wheel. Takes me a little bit of time to try the pedals. I'm just filtering through the screen options, menu options, and just having a look at the driver positioning. And none of these things can be adjusted, which is quite disappointing, whereas on Assetto Corsa you can adjust the field of view cockpit, but there's no field of view alterations at any point in this game. It's just presuming that you are sat in, I guess, the perfect position. if you've got a different size screen or anything. There's nothing to adjust, which was really disappointing. Just about as disappointing as the force feedback was at this point during my testing. I just cannot feel anything through the wheel, as opposed to any sort of grip. There is a small vibration at this point coming through the wheel, and I'm just assuming maybe this is down to having cold tyres, and I'm just not feeling any grip. So just so that you're aware, I can adjust numerous things on my Fanatec equipment, and the current setting I'm using is the same settings that I would use on the wheel for Assetto Corsa itself. So I'm probably running about 80% force feedback, which is pretty strong on Assetto Corsa. And I'm also running numerous effects, probably dialed down to about 20. Which it used to shake quite a lot, the wheel on Assetto Corsa, but probably for the past year or so that's been perfectly fine. But anyway, coming back into the settings, I can actually adjust the steering lock now that it's recognised the wheel, and I usually run 360 degrees on my wheel because I'm using the McLaren GT3 wheel, which I don't really want to take my hands off. So like you would imagine in a Formula 1 car, you're not wanting to let go of this wheel and go sort of lock for lock, crossing your hands using 900 degrees of rotation. You're just wanting a really small steering ratio. Coming back into the game, I'm just trying to warm the tyres up here, and there's just nothing. There is no feedback as to whether I've got grip or not. It's not down to me being an idiot. There is literally just no sensation of grip. So obviously that's with the gain dialed right down, and on my wheel, like I said, I'm probably running about 80%. Now, since probably one of the recent patches, the wheel goes up to 200% now. Quite why they did that, I don't know. But yeah, there's still plenty of adjustment to go on the wheel. So I make a few adjustments in the game's force feedback, and just think I'll dial everything up as far as it goes and then sort of work backwards from there. Now, one of the other things that annoys me about coming down through this menu is you can't just come straight down. You've got to sort of jump right, come back down, then jump left to click save. Why you can't just come straight in a straight line, I've got no idea. But that's another issue with the game. But it's day one, and I can understand there's going to be issues with this game. I'm not expecting it to be perfect straight out of the box, especially on console. And I'm sure there's been loads of patches since its release on PC, and hundreds of issues probably ironed out over the last year on PC. So yeah, we've got all these to deal with on console, and I'm well aware of that. But there's so many other people explaining or saying that theirs feels fine, and that I'm just not setting things up properly. Well, clearly I'm not, but clearly I've also got an issue. There's just no sensation of grip. I'm making numerous adjustments here on my wheel, which I wish I'd filmed this actually using a camera behind me so that you could see the effects that I'm getting through the wheel, because I'm just making so many adjustments here and there, trying to increase the force feedback through the Fanatec equipment that I've got, just changing it in the tuning settings within the wheel itself, whilst also trying to change it through the game itself as well, just trying to make adjustments where I can. But obviously I can see visually that I'm losing the grip, but you're never going to be able to drive that. I mean, imagine using a force feedback wheel and not having any force feedback. It's literally impossible to drive the game just using visual cues on how the game feels. So just moving the wheel around, trying to see any sort of effects coming from the wheel, and there's just literally nothing. So coming straight back into the menu options, and there's got to be somewhere in here that I'm not doing something right. So yes, I'm going to spend the next hour or so adjusting these settings to various different permutations, and then going back into the game, making adjustments or seeing how those adjustments have affected the game itself, and then obviously coming back out to the menus, whilst also making a few adjustments on the Fanatec wheel as I've mentioned. But there's literally just nothing. I'm gradually starting to increase the force feedback strength, which is in turn obviously doing a lot more damage to the wheel itself as well. I know there's like a small gauge that you can see also down on the bottom right hand side that says FF. I'll sort of zoom in on that at some point to show you what I mean. But yeah, coming back out to the menu and just increasing that back up, bringing it down has made absolutely no difference. I just cannot feel anything at all. So I thought I'd try decreasing this dynamic damping, see what that does. So yeah, coming back to the game, if someone can mention something about that FF down in the bottom corner, that would be interesting to hear about. But yeah, just looking at the wheel itself, I'm just getting this vibrating as well, this sort of oscillating back and forward with the wheel. Like I said, I mean, obviously you can't see real life what's going on with the wheel, but on the game it just bounces back and forward. It doesn't find a center point, and there is absolutely no point would I dare let go of the wheel. It would just go into meltdown really. Which is another point that I raised quite a long time ago on Assetto Corsa. So I'm assuming this is a problem on their end and not my end. And it's quite funny actually going back and looking at one of the old videos I did of Assetto Corsa, problems with Fanatec equipment. I'll put it in a link above. But it's probably a very similar issue that I had back then. And it's just literally the sensation of no feeling as to the force feedback. The wheel just gets heavier if you gradually just increase the force feedback to its maximum. So you're running 200% on the wheel, which has got to be doing damage over the long term. You couldn't play this game with 200% force feedback through the wheel, 100% force feedback through the settings in the game, and expect your wheel to last for a long time. It's just not going to happen. But the feeling that you get is a heck of a lot of resistance through the wheel. There's obviously that constant sort of, I guess, like a dragging effect through the wheel. Every time you're turning the wheel, the resistance is just huge, but you are getting a small amount of detail. And like I say, I've tried dialing the detail back and using the lower settings, and then there's just nothing. There's no sensation of grip at all. But if you increase everything to its maximum, it's just a heavy weight in the wheel. There's not particularly a great deal of detail. You can see there, I've just got no sensation as to whether the car's understeering or whether I've got grip. Now on Assetto Corsa, it's phenomenal, the sensation that you get through the wheel. When the aero's working right, you can really feel grip through the corners. It's a really nice sensation. But I spend as much time as I can with this game. And I actually I do actually get a number of laps stringed together to actually complete one full lap at one point, which we'll see shortly. But it's just not working right for me. And there's numerous other people out there that have got issues with their force feedback, and I know there's quite a few people that I've seen, definitely on PS4 seems to be more predominant, that their force feedback feels fine and it feels just like the PC version, but that is clearly not the case for me. And as you can see here in the top right corner, we've got Assetto Corsa running, and on the main screen we've got Assetto Corsa Competizione. And I'll flick between the audio on both of them just for the game's sake. But I'm not like an amateur sim racer. I'm quite accustomed to setting a good lap time, and I'm pretty well astute, I think, in setting up the settings on my wheel and in game in order to feel the sort of sensations that any one of us, any sim racer, would want to feel through the wheel when sitting down at their sim rig. So I'm quite comfortable with setting a lap around Spa itself. So yeah, just it's an issue for me because I'm seeing so many other people enjoying the limited aspects of what this game's currently got to offer. I know the frames per second is an issue for a lot of people, especially those that have tried the game on PC. They know just how beautiful it can look with a higher frames per second. But in all honesty, the 30 frames per second whilst you're driving the car, especially during this hot lap session, obviously I've got nothing really taxing the console itself and I'm running on the Xbox One X. Whether it's an issue when you're actually in a game and you've got multiple other cars, rain conditions, I'm not yet able to find that out, because without the force feedback being set up, I just don't feel like I can continue with the game as it is, and that's going to be an issue with regards to the game getting patched, really. But yeah, the frames per second whilst driving around isn't really an issue for me, and the audio itself is fantastic. I love how it sounds, especially the in-car. You can sort of hear like all the gravel and stuff hitting the underside of the car. It really is a nice sound, but when it comes to setting a lap, I'm a huge amount off the pace, and some people have mentioned this is down to input lag, and I've got to be honest, I didn't particularly notice input lag on the Xbox. I haven't got a PlayStation to try that on to notice that, but coming into other aspects of the game, I really did like seeing all the delta. That was quite interesting. But I think when it comes down to the frames per second issue, I think this is where it's most evident for me, is in the replay. I was also looking at the car as it drove round here and just wondering why there's so much rubbish on the bonnet. It almost looks like someone's just thrown Vaseline all over the car for some reason, but that's something completely different. But yeah, the replays look nowhere near as polished as probably even Project Cars 2. And I really did like Assetto Corsa's camera options. It did always look very professional. Even the original version on console does have some very nice looking camera settings, but that was a bit disappointing to look through the replay settings there and flicking through all the camera settings, that it doesn't actually tell you what each camera setting is. I quite like just flicking up the list and picking what I want rather than just having to cycle through a massive list. So that would be something nice to see changed. How long the replay records for, I've got no idea. It says we're at 28 minutes where it joined there, but I haven't fast forwarded this to find a good lap, so it's obviously jumped quite far ahead. So how long the replay actually records for wasn't something I was looking at testing during this video. But looking at the replays, some of the angles are pretty nice to look at. How it looks, like I said, with a full grid of cars driving around. Shots like that I really do like. Just more of a static camera, and the original game offered just a single option as to static cameras, which was quite nice to see. But yes, it is day one. I know that there are going to be a huge amount of issues to work through for the developers, but like I'm mentioning, the force feedback for me is just hugely lacking in detail. You can increase the weight of the wheel to a point where you're probably going to cause damage to your wheel, and for me it's just a case of waiting out the next patch and trying each and every update as it comes out. But for now, I certainly won't be entertaining ruining my wheel through trying different settings, because it's just not there. It's something that needs patching. This was just an example. That was me just driving down the straight and just letting go of the wheel itself, and it just goes berserk. It just bounces from one side to the other, especially with the minimum force feedback turned down to nothing. It just goes absolutely crazy. So I couldn't just let go of the wheel on a straight, which I can do in Project Cars 2 and Assetto Corsa. It doesn't bounce. It's sort of like a limiter or something. You can see there, that's just letting go of the wheel at slow speed. It just bounces from one side to the other, and it's such an effort just to set that lap that I did, because there's that going on all the time whilst you're driving along the straights. So yeah, day one was pretty disappointing for me, and I probably won't put this game back in my console probably for a number of weeks while they iron out a few of the issues. I'll probably just focus on doing some more Project Cars 2 stuff or Assetto Corsa. But for the meantime, that's the state of the game. As far as I'm concerned, there are a number of issues that need dialing out. Yes, it's day one. I can't see them being dialed out on day two either. But just for future reference with the channel, I will feature more content as and when the wheel starts working properly. And I'm sure there's plenty more things to uncover within this game. Fingers crossed it gets sorted out sooner rather than later, and I can start adding more content to the channel. But for me, the force feedback needs addressing, and a few menu options. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and it's been useful, please hit that subscribe button. Keep coming back to the channel. I'll still feature future content, and I'll leave it there. Ciao for now.